Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the National Training Agency's second webinar of its TVET webinar series 2018. I am Ms. Kim Cowie, Marketing Assistant from the Business Development and Communications Department, and I will be your moderator this morning. This webinar will focus on open education and the associated benefits, open education initiatives in TVET, and open educational resources as a tool for workforce development. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing our presenter, the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the NTA, Ms. Pauline Whiteman. Her topic today is TVET and open education in Trinidad and Tobago. Without further delay, let me hand you over to Ms. Whiteman.
Good morning, everyone. As you heard from Kim, our topic today is on TVET and open education. Digital technology is gaining importance not only in life and work, but also in education and training. The development of knowledge is becoming increasingly dynamic, and openness in itself, that's open education in itself, has emerged as an actual quality in education. This webinar will focus on open education and open education resources. We will also be looking at open education initiatives in TVET, and we'll be exploring how we can use open education resources as a tool for workforce development. A growing number of platforms with open education resources provide access to high-quality educational materials related to skills development. What really is open education? According to UNESCO, open education is a philosophy about the way people should produce, share, and build on knowledge. Proponents of open education focus on universal access to high-quality education through quality experiences and resources. We want to look also at what we mean when we speak to open educational resources. It appears that copyright restrictions actually go counter to the very idea of education, which, as we know, intends to share information to the widest extent possible. And this is the basic idea of open education resources. Open educational resources are teaching, learning, or research materials that are in the public domain or released with an intellectual property license that allows for free use, adaptation, and distribution. OER, I'll just use the acronym OER. These are published under a Creative Commons license. And what do we mean by a Creative Commons license? There exists actually an entire suite of Creative Commons licenses that range from the most open to the least open. And the initiatives I'll be referring to later on in this webinar have made use of the CC by SA Creative Commons license. And this means that you are free to share, copy, and redistribute the materials in any medium or format. When you adapt, you remix, transform, and build upon the material for any purpose under specific terms, such as you are required to give appropriate credit, indicate if changes are made. If you remix, transform, or build upon the material, you must distribute contribution under the same license as the original. OER advocate David Wiley spoke to the 5 R's permission in using OER. The 5 R's refer to retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute. And Wiley proposed that when you adhere to these 5 R's, then you make resources truly open. So OER are published under Creative Commons license, as indicated. And I mentioned there is actually a suite of Creative Commons licenses that enable free distribution of an otherwise copyrighted work. A Creative Commons license is used when an author wants to give people the right to share, use, and build upon the work created. Now, OER can take many different forms. They range from open textbooks to curricula, syllabi, course materials, lecture notes, assignments, audio, video, animation. Now, there are various OER delivery modes, which include synchronous delivery modes or asynchronous delivery modes. By synchronous, we mean occurring at the same time. And some delivery modes via synchronous e-learning include online studies through chat, video conferencing, a virtual classroom, where learners are allowed to easily interact with fellow students and their teachers or facilitators instantly through instant messaging or communication. Some examples of asynchronous e-learning include coursework delivered via the web, email and message boards, and so on, which are then posted on online forums. And in this mode, learners actually complete the course or material at their own pace by using the internet merely as a support tool rather than volunteering exclusively for an e-learning software or online interactive classes. What are the benefits of OER to TVET? The Sustainable Development Goal 4 aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by the year 2030. One of its targets is to increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills, for employment, as well as decent jobs and entrepreneurship. This is possible with technology. With OER, there can be multiple learning platforms, and the approaches can be compatible to modern learning and workplace cultures. OER can make use of blended or online learning modalities, which are alternatives to complementary avenues to face-to-face delivery interaction. The technology applications utilized can support learner-centered, self-directed, peer-to-peer, and social or informal learning approaches. These 21st century skills require persons to be tech savvy and create opportunities for authentic or real life learning experiences through resources that link employer or professional sector activities. Another benefit, huge benefit, with regard to the use of OER in TVET is access. The use of OER will broaden the access to education, training, and learning opportunities. Learners and educators can retrieve and updated content and resources previously considered limited. Online platforms allow persons in rural or distant locations more options. Resources are more readily available and can be customized to fit context or persons with special needs or disabilities. And of course, resources can be translated into many different languages. Another benefit is cost effectiveness. The use of OER reduces the costs associated with traditional education and training opportunities. As indicated previously, learning resources are affordable. In some cases, they are freely available. Using OER removes added expenses associated with traditional training, such as expenses associated with travel, facilities, and so on. And of course, then there is the benefit of flexibility, because it's convenient for learners in that the learners in this situation, they are not restricted with respect to the availability of paid facilitators or instructors. So there are many benefits to be achieved when using OER. I'll move on to some OER initiatives that are currently in train in Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension, the region. Now, we are all, or should be by now, familiar with the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, or the CVQ. The CVQ is based on a common regional approach to training, assessment, and certification, as agreed by CANTA, the Caribbean Association of National Training Agencies, and the Caribbean Examinations Council. The CVQ requires that assessors must be trained and certified to assess for the CVQ. That's one of the quality assurance requirements for the CVQ. The CVQ assessor training was converted to online or OER to provide an online resource to facilitate assessor training and certification activities to TVET centers and training providers across the region that are currently offering the CVQ. Therefore, the target groups for this online program include intended CVQ or NVQ assessors, TVET instructors who conduct competency-based assessments, because we ascribe to competency-based assessment when we assess for the CVQ, teachers of the CXC, CSEC, and CAPE technical subjects, and employers and supervisors engaged in skills training and development. Conversion of the CVQ assessor training to OER was seen as an initiative to build capacity. Since converting the training material to OER will reduce costs associated with face-to-face training. And as I mentioned before, costs associated with the venue, tuition, travel, meals, and materials. In the Caribbean, there are a number of national training authorities that are not yet approved, and they seek consultancies from other CARICOM countries where there are established NTAs to access assessor training to build capacity in their various countries. So another reason for developing the CVQ assessor training to OER was for capacity development support for NTAs in countries not yet approved to award CVQs. And this also provided a means of standardizing methodology and content of assessor training programs delivered by the approved NTAs in the region. Of course, all of this will facilitate progress in the implementation of the CVQ. Now, the CVQ assessor training online program, the expected outcome was really to allow for strengthened collaboration with local, regional, and international partners. The NTAs in CARICOM, 3 NTAs I should say, worked together with COL, CANTA, and UE to facilitate the conversion of the assessor training material to distance learning mode. Of course, one of the expected outcomes of this initiative was to harness the potential of OER for CVQ assessor training. This assessor training online program was published under a Creative Commons license, and the one used was the CC by SA, SA meaning share alike. And this means that others can copy, distribute, display, perform, and modify the work as long as they distribute any modified work on the same terms. So the creation of materials will be available for use by any institution in the Caribbean, and the certification offered, of course, will be equivalent to any certification offered, the same as equivalent to if the program was delivered face-to-face. At this point, I must recognize the Commonwealth of Learning. The Commonwealth of Learning sponsored the development of the CVQ assessor training online program by providing the requisite resources and expertise required. In developing the program, we adapted existing CVQ assessor training materials to online OER materials. The development team worked through face-to-face workshops and online meetings. We actually utilized the technology, and we found that Skype was very effective for facilitating these online meetings. Technology facilitated regular communication between the countries and advisors in Canada. We actually had held meetings every Monday night via Skype. In developing the program, the Open Education Resource Design adhered to important factors regarding the quality of OERs, such as the use of appropriate metadata, alignment to competency standards and assessments. We had to confirm that the content is free from bias, and both formative and summative assessments were included, as recommended by the Software and Information Industry Association. Now, just a brief on where we are with the CVQ assessor training. We have since piloted the program. We had a very successful pilot, and we are now engaged with a second cohort of persons who are currently pursuing the CVQ assessor training program online. We have a number of persons who are interested in pursuing the program online, and some training institutions have expressed interest in offering the assessor training online program to their cohort of students, for example, the students pursuing BScs and even master's degrees. So we were very successful, I would say, in that regard. Another initiative we are currently pursuing is the online verifiers training. The online verifiers training is a hybrid of level 4 assessment verification internal and level 4 assessment verification external. The development of this course is in progress at this point in time. And again, Paul has provided the requisite resources to enable the development of this program. In the future, we hope to convert a TVET instructor training to OER, given the fact that in the Caribbean, in Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension in the Caribbean, there is a need to train up TVET instructors to allow them to utilize the CVET competency-based education and training methodology, both for delivery and assessment. There are other online, other initiatives that are currently in train that some TVET providers are working on, where they are converting skills programs to OER. For example, the National Center for Persons with Disabilities is currently working with the Youth Training and Employment Partnership Program, YTEP, to convert the food preparation program to OER mode. Now, one of the major advantages of this conversion of this program is to target persons who are currently inaccessible, in particular the case of NCPD. It is envisaged that a blended approach will be used, but there will be more online interaction than face-to-face sessions. Assessments will be conducted online and face-to-face, and the intention is to award CVQ certification. Another initiative that's being currently pursued by YTEP is the online life skills program, where 8 modules have been converted for delivery via a blended approach. The intention is to deliver 4 sessions face-to-face and all the other sessions online. Assessments will be completed online via an e-portfolio. Now we are embarking on all of these initiatives, and they are commendable, in my opinion, very much so. But we need to ensure the sustainability of these programs. We realized that we needed to build capacity among assessor trainers and skills trainers in general. So again, COL developed an online course facilitating online courses, which was made available to assessor trainers from throughout the region, including Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad, and Tobago. The facilitating online courses focused on enabling assessor trainers to use the various technologies available to effectively deliver in an online environment. We have a number of CVQ assessor trainers who have successfully completed the training. And I must add, not only CVQ assessor trainers, but a number of CVQ skills facilitators have also completed this facilitating online course. Now we're moving on to capacity development with specific reference to workforce development. I mean, we are talking about workforce development all of the time, but let us look at how OER can contribute to capacity building. Now, with respect to TVET training providers, OER can increase the pool of instructors, assessors, and verifiers. The resources used to deliver programs can be tailored to specific learner groups. Since OER, given the flexibility of OER, different training modalities can be selected to suit the specific training environment. So the blended approach can be used, there can be slicing where you use blended, face-to-face, etc. And this will result in increased skills training and certification opportunities for all categories of learners. OER can also contribute to the enhancement or development of competency management systems within organizations. And I'm speaking here specifically to certain organizations. For example, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a number of producer organizations that are required to have or to establish competency management systems. Now, the competency management systems established by these organizations mirror the system of assessment we have established to deliver and assess for the CVQ. So these organizations can utilize OER to enhance, to develop their competency management systems. Of course, the use of OER can increase the human resources pool of trainers and assessors and verifiers within these organizations. And again, the flexibility of OER allows the selection of different modalities to suit the training environment. Another important aspect is the use of OER as a succession planning tool. Since institutional knowledge and experience can be converted into an accessible resource or learning platform for all employees. And all of this will redound to the benefit of the various organizations, because you would have increased skills training and certification opportunities for the actual workforce. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, we know that there exists a dearth of skilled and certified TVET instructors. Within several institutions, within the secondary school system, we have a growing number of TVET teachers and instructors who are retiring, and it's very difficult to find the requisite replacement for these teachers and instructors. So there are challenges associated with recruiting TVET teachers and instructors who have the requisite background in education and training. OER presents an opportunity to equip teachers and instructors, not only in the skills, the occupational skill areas, but also in the areas of pedagogy. Since these programs can be accessed, for example, the competency-based education and training, instructor training online, which hopefully we'll move to have online soon, and the facilitating online course that I mentioned a while ago. OER can create an avenue for upskilling in ICT and other technical areas. And we will be able to foster instructors who are better able to support learners. And these teachers or instructors would be allowed access to development, training and development anywhere and anytime. Now, before I end this part of the session, I would want to mention some platforms that all of us can gain access to. As I indicated before, OER, freely available. Some of them include your normal YouTube. And we know YouTube, well, not specifically related to TVET, but we can use it to, when we are delivering instruction, to show, because how to. Some YouTube videos actually show how to do certain skills. There's also a TESDA online program in the Philippines, that organization that is equivalent to what we do here at NTA, TESDA, TESDA. They also have online programs for the Filipinos. And then there's the TVET Academy. So those are three platforms that you can search if you are interested in OER with specifically related to TVET. Now, government has a crucial role to play if we are to harness the potential of OER. inclusion of and engagement with national government and stakeholders are a prerequisite, as it requires an enabling policy at national level for the adoption of OER in TVET. COL, the Commonwealth of Learning, has suggested that the adoption of OER in TVET requires institutional policy, capacity planning, innovative staff and teacher development, instructional design capacity and development, and information and communications technology infrastructures. OER can play a pivotal role in achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In particular, as I mentioned before, Sustainable Development Goal 4, which speaks to quality in education. And by extension, our Trinidad and Tobago's Vision 2030 national goals, specifically under the thematic area, putting people first, nurturing our greatest asset. There are many success stories regarding use of OER. OER can enable the achievement of the goal as stated in the CARICOM Regional TVET Strategy in the very near future, the continuous professional development of instructors. This strategy focuses on the creation of a globally competitive region through a demand-led education and training system. And I sincerely believe that OER is a viable resource and its use should be considered to this end. At this time, we would like to invite questions from the viewing audience. We will attempt to take as many questions as possible.
Okay, so we have the first question. Who will guarantee the quality of OER?
Okay, so with respect to the quality of OER, the National Training Agency of Trinidad and Tobago is actually the quality assurance body for TVET. And in this particular instance, we're speaking TVET. The Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago is also the quality assurance agency for tertiary level programs. So there are agencies that will serve as the gatekeepers to ensure that we adhere to quality assurance requirements when developing OER. So I hope that answers that question.
We have another question. Is OER related to the concept of resource-based learning?
There's no direct relationship between OER and resource-based learning, but there are many OER available online have not explicitly been designed as part of a deliberate strategy to shift to resource-based learning. Likewise, most practice in resource-based learning currently uses fully copyrighted materials rather than OER. Remember in the presentation, we referred to open a Creative Commons license, which is freely available. Nevertheless, I would say linking OER and resource-based learning provides an opportunity to leverage both most effectively.
Don't know if we have time for one more question.
Sure.
Okay, so how can someone wants to know how they could access the online assessor training? They have been trained in Botswana and certified by BOTA, but now work in TNT.
Okay, that's a great question. And we welcome all persons interested in accessing our assessor training online. They can contact the National Training Agency, and I will ask him to provide that person with an email contact. Yes, so that they can ask any questions related to the CBQ assessor training we provide.
Right, and one more. How is OER different from other online materials?
Now, OER, as I indicated previously, the main difference is that this resource is more or less freely available. There are other online materials that are copyrighted. So I would say the main difference is these are freely available. In some instances, you can adapt, remix, etc., as I indicated. In other instances, although they adhere to the same Creative Commons license, the user is not able to change the content in any significant way, and they must recognize the original author or producer of the content.
Okay. So I believe those are all the questions for today. Thank you for such an insightful presentation.
Thank you very much. And for those of you who are interested, if there are any additional questions, you feel free to contact the National Training Agency of Trinidad and Tobago. We welcome all questions and queries. And we look forward to hosting you at another one of our webinars. So thank you very much for logging in.